Hello brothers and sisters of the Imperium, and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to turn these into these Blade Guard veterans for under £1.50 a miniature. So Morgan, I hear you say, £1.50 Blade Guards. You're having a laugh, aren't you? Well, no, actually. As you can see over here, I have 12 issues of issue 1 Imperium magazine. Don't ask me how I got them. Morgan always gets what he wants, and he has rogue traders in high places. That's all you guys need to know. And yeah, the first edition of Imperium, as you can see here, is $2.99. I managed to get the Gucci one. Gucci is army phrase for fancy. And it is the large cardboard one, and I got a box of 12 of them. So, for $2.99, inside here, I've already done a review of issue 1 Imperium. Check it out, it's on my channel. You get a Primaris Lieutenant, in inverted commas, and a Royal Warden in inverted commas, which is a Necron. We'll get to that. We'll get to this guy in a bit, but the main guy that we want to see here is, so you get 2 miniatures for £3, divided by 2, do the math, £1.49.5, so round up £1.50. At time of writing, or making, should I say, the Blade Guard veterans, to which this references, are anything between £25 at a local game store with a discount, or £30 plus on the GW website. So they are £5 and above at times of writing. So even without having done anything here, you've got 2 miniatures for £3, 2 HQ miniatures. And as you know, HQ miniatures go from anything from £10 to £20. So today I'm going to show you how we can turn these guys into Blade Guard veterans. Now, as you can see here on the sprue, let me just focus that for you. You get a Blade Guard veteran. Now, the coolest thing about this that I noticed, as you can see, I've already taken off the shield. I made some veterans the other day, veterans with combi plasmas, and alone, those of us that kitbash, and kitbashing can be sometimes more expensive than even buying an actual model. The shield alone is actually not stuck to an arm. It's actually a separate shield. So I just want to point that out first, which is really, really good for kit bashing. So for me, it's already good in terms of kit bashing potential to have something like this. I know that might not seem like a lot, but anyway. So how can we turn these into a Blade Guard? That's what I'm going to do today. I'm just going to quickly show you how we can turn this into a Blade Guard veteran, which I'll show you shortly. So here are some Blade Guard veteran I made earlier. Now, at time of making this video, Blade Guard veteran, they're not OP, but they are definitely worth their points. Each one has 3 wounds, 4 up invul with the Storm Shield, invulnerable save. I played these actually on Tuesday against an Orc player, and they charged into the central objective and held it for 2 turns. Before getting destroyed. Combine these guys with an apothecary or a chief apothecary, and you've got something that is seriously difficult to shift. They're not OP. Games Workshop do not nerf these guys. They're just balanced. They're quite expensive points wise, but put 5 of them on an objective, goodness grief, they're tough to shift. But I'm having another competitive game, a part of a crusade with the London Wargaming Guild on Monday, and I'm going to actually be fielding 10 of these because these 5 guys fielded. So rather than spending £30 on GW or £25 on local gaming store, I actually have these Imperium ones in my pocket, so to speak. So what you first want to do is obviously get the stuff off the sprue. I'll do that quickly now for you, so you don't need to watch me. So the original model that this is supposed to be is this guy here. I actually had this guy from the Indomitus box set. You can see here that he has his sword attached to his waist. He's got a Volkite pistol, I believe. And so this is the standard pose that he's supposed to be. So the purpose of today is to show you how to create a different pose. The beautiful thing about this model actually is it is pretty much push fit i.e. you can push it together like that, and it pretty much just slots into place. So you've got the same standard pose. And the other great thing, as I mentioned earlier, is all the arms and legs are separate. All the different bits are separate. It's not like a monopose, a single pose where you've got him stuck to a base. So it really is really nice that they included this as the first model. I think it's a bit underestimated how great this model is. The only problem is that big hole in the chest there, but what you can do is you can always use that shield there to always just put that in there. I don't think you should change that. That should be pretty much normal, just to keep that there like that. Again, it just slots into place there. But the first thing you want to do if you ever want to change arm positions is just cut these little bits off. You see these little bits that hold the arms in position? Just cut those off, and then you're free to do what you want with your arms. But Morgan, you say, now that I don't have those, how are the arms supposed to slot together? How are they supposed to move? Well, the thing is, I actually have this Gorilla Glue. I use this adhesive Gorilla Glue on all my arms when I'm kit bashing, purely because it dries really, really slowly. When I want to stick something quickly, I'll just use standard super glue. If I want to do it GW way, you know, with the plastic glue, I'll use their glue. But if I want to move things around, I'll use this Gorilla Glue. It is a bit stringy and gooey, but it's almost like chewing gum. And it means that you can actually rearrange the arms. After you've stuck it, it doesn't stick instantly, pardon me. So, yeah. And the way you do it, so we have the various pieces all separate here. And now the thing is, let's say you want to use this arm as the actual blade arm. This is his left arm, as you can see here. Use that as a sword arm. I actually had one that I made earlier. You can see it here. This is actually one from Imperium. I've already made one. And you can see that I've put the sword on there. Yes, the scabbard is still there. But you can see that already you've got a guy holding a sword and a shield, not just holding the weapon out. So the first thing you need to do is actually just remove this gun from his hand. It's a little bit tricky. What you want to do is you just want to snip there slightly. You don't want to ruin the gun because you might want to use that for kit bashing later. So just quickly snip there. And then what I have is I've got a knife here. Now, this is a knife that I got, a blue spot knife. I always buy these knives because they're cheap and cheerful on Amazon. They're only £5 and they come with multiple blades, as you can see here. And then when you're done, you just buy another one. But they're really good. But I would say, guys, this is a little bit of health and safety. Always, when you're using sharp knives like this, always cut away from yourself, never cut towards your fingers. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut this off and show you what it looks like once I've cut it. I'm not going to do it on camera because, you know, I need to actually focus on what I'm doing. One sec. So as you can see here, let me just zoom in there for you. I've just got it down in a downward facing motion, and you just apply some pressure like that, just gentle. Don't chop hard, just apply some gentle pressure like that. There we go. And eventually that will come apart just in his, just apply some gentle pressure to remove the gun from his hand there. There you go. Gentle pressure. Again, you can come from both sides like that. There you go. So now you've removed the gun from his hand. Let me focus in on that for you. Now you've got an arm which can hold a sword. So we now very kindly have a sword here. Yes, it's in his scabbard, i.e. you can see there on the end, it's got, let me just zoom that out there for you. Zoom in on my finger. There you go. You can see it's got the scabbard on the end right here. There you go. Sorry, let me zoom there for you. Let me lock that in position. So you can see here on the end, you've got this little scabbard. Now, it's up to you at this point. If you just want guys holding swords, you can always paint that in and make it look like a sword. It looks a bit weird. Or you can actually remove that, again, using your knife. So I'll show you how to do that now. So again, using your knife, all you want to do is just shave upwards. Again, you want to put the flat of your knife against there and just shave upwards like that, and you can remove the end. So as you can see there, it's pretty rough at the minute, but what I've done is, all I did was I put the flat of the knife across there. Sorry guys, let me get that back in focus for you there. Let me lock that there. All right, yeah. So you just flat of your knife and you just brush it like that to take that. And then you do the same thing on the sides like that. Okay? And then what you want to do is with the same tool that I use to remove the mold lines, and actually I will say there is quite a lot of mold lines in actually the actual model on the legs. So as you can see there, like there are quite a few mold lines, or where the sprue is, especially on the top of the power pack, just on here. Always watch these areas. So with Imperium and any subscribers, you'll have got this really handy tool. So what you want to do is don't try and use your sharp knife to remove any of the lines there. So let me clean up my knife there. Ooh, it's a bit dangerous. So make sure you obviously have your knife locked in place so it doesn't fly off anywhere. But don't use your knife to actually shave the sword. What you want to do is once you've got the skull and everything off, because that's pretty rough at the minute, you want to use your mold line remover tool just to tidy up the sides. So get the bulk of it off with your knife and then use this to tidy up the rest of it. So as you can see here, just grabbing the flat of this and just tidying up the sword. It's never going to be as nice as an actual sword, okay? But it's going to be passable. And for Morgan, I'm not a demon painter, demon cup painter, whatever the hell they are. I am minimum effort, maximum effect. Anyone that's watched any of my painting videos or Kitbash videos, I'm way too busy to worry about little things like that. So what you want to do is just make that nice and smooth. Run your finger across it. I can feel there that there's a little lump on the end. So when you're at a stage where you're happy with it, you think it's passable, it's going to look okay when it's painted, then you can leave it alone. Again, I'm doing the sides there as well because remember the scabbard comes out. So you can see there we now have effectively a decent sword. Yes, I know it's not ideal. I'll do some more touching up on that, but you get the gist, right? Rather than always having a scabbard sword, which means you can now attach it to his arm. Again, Morgan, oh my goodness, there's a handle there, mate. Yes, I know. So all you do again with your sharp knife, you're just going to cut that handle off. Cut it off right at the hand. As you can see here, here's one I made earlier. All I did was cut it off there and then put it underneath. So you just cut the sword and then put that bit underneath. So I'm going to do that now. Again, just put it flat on the floor. There we go. Put it flat on the floor. Make sure you're in the right spot. Just apply some gentle pressure. Remember sprue etiquette. If you've got a piece that can ping off, put your other finger on top of it, right? Don't have pieces flying off around the room. My mate was over the other day, we were doing some modelling together. Not photographic modelling, I'm not that handsome anymore. And there you go. You now have a sword and you have the handle as well. So there you go. Now you can assemble your hand to your sword. Cool, so the next thing you're going to need to do is get your arm ready. Now, I've just done this already, but what you need to do is you need to make sure that the hand is nice and flat. So what I mean is I've just used my knife and I've just shaved a bit on the top of the hand and shaved away there was a little bit sticking out of underneath the hand. The reason being, because you need to make sure before you start sticking stuff together, is that the sword sits nicely on top of the hand, like that. Okay, so you're going to actually have some nice purchase when you use super glue. Yes, we're going to use super glue for this bit, because I don't have all day. I use 3 types of glue, as I mentioned earlier. I use super glue if I want something stuck fast, like now, like within a minute. And then I use the Gorilla Contact Adhesive Clear Gooey Glue if I want to move stuff around. And then I use Citadel if I'm, push fit or whatever I can wait all day for. So what you want to do is you want to make sure that fits nice and slug on top like that. And also that the handle sits nice and flush on the bottom. I did need to take a little bit off the top of the handle to make it sit nice and flush. I'm going to quickly glue that now for you guys. So the glue that I use for this, the super glue, I've tried lots of different types. The one that I like is, I really like this, if you're in the UK, it's a Loctite super glue in this dropper. If you use like the standard kind of super glue squidgy thing like that, oh my god, you have no idea. Not the specific glue, this is just some cheap stuff. But if you use this type of dropper, it's an absolute nightmare. Absolute bloody nightmare. You'll get it all over your hands. So use this really kind of useful dropper one. If it clogs at the top, then you can always cut the end off and keep cutting the end off. So what you do is you just put a little bit on there like that, a little bit on the bottom like that, and what you want to do is it basically sticks pretty much instantly. However, leave it for about 30 seconds and it will stick even faster than that. So for example, if I start trying to put this on now, then it will wobble off. But if you leave it just for about 30 seconds or 60 seconds even, then it will almost stick instantly, and then you can move on to your next thing. So as I've got to smash through, I'm only going to smash through 5 of these today before the end of the video. I'm not going to make you sit and watch me, but I need to have stuff that sticks fast. So yeah, super glue on the hand, definitely. And also, don't forget to cut this bit off here. There's just a little bit that sticks out, and you can always flatten that down with your tool. Cool, so as you can see here, we now have a hand holding a sword. That took probably about 1 minute to do. The second 30 seconds is trying to get the handle to fit. Now I would say I did chop off some of the handle. If you look at the actual blade guard models, you can see that they only have about 3, I don't know what you call those, just there underneath the handle, about 3 bits, but I've actually just kept 4 bits on the actual handle and chopped off, probably about chopped it in 2/3 maybe, just so that the bottom bit isn't too long. So now we have our actual handle, which is fantastic. So we've now got an arm holding a sword. So now let's assemble the model, which I'll do for you now. So this is the glue I like to use when assembling arms. As you can see, oh, let me get it in shot. As you can see, it's like gloopy, stringy glue. You have to kind of put it on and then pull it off like that. It is really stringy, so you have to be careful with it. And then what you do is, you can just put the arm on there like that. And then just hold it for a little bit. So what I want with this guy is, I'm gonna have him holding his sword up in the air like that, like aloft, like kind of dramatic style. And what you can do is you can just hold that in there, and as you can see, it doesn't stick immediately, but it's sticky enough that you can kind of play around with it. As you can see, his arm's already falling down there. So again, I'm trying to do this in fast time for you guys, but what you want to do is maybe glue it and then leave it for a minute, and then you can have that on there. So what I'm going to do is, I've shown you the glue, I'm now going to put the other arm on now. And here you see the finished article. So as you can see here, I've turned what was this into this. Quite cool, huh? It just goes to show, with a few tweaks here or there, what you can do to a standard model. And yes, I know, you're about to point it out, Morgan, there's no bald-headed guy in it. Yeah, like anyone else, I have hundreds and hundreds of heads from spare box sets that I've had over the years. This is, I think, an Indomitus head from somewhere. But if you've got any spare heads, you can use that. But the main takeaway from this is that you can actually turn the scabbard sword. Yes, there is a hole in there. You can just put some glue in there to fill that. It's fine. But you can turn something that was not meant to be that, a monopose model like that, into something that's quite cool. He almost looks like a captain, doesn't he? If we look at this guy over here, my stoic blade guard Indomitus captain. God, I love that model. But yeah, so there you go. For for £1.50 you can turn that. And I'm just going to finish off. I'm going to go away. I'm going to grab myself a whiskey and a beer, and I'm going to smash through another 4 of these, and then I'll sign off with that. All right, don't go anywhere, and I'll be back in just a sec. Welcome back. So here are the boys. I've now assembled 5 of these bad boys, and I'm going to quickly go through and show you each one. Now, it did take a bit longer than I thought, because rather than just assembling them willy-nilly, I actually put a lot of effort into the poses that you can see going on here, so there'd be variety, and actually referred back to the blade guards in the actual multi-part kit for some inspiration of my own in terms of poses, and the standard poses that you get in the multi-part kit to see if it could be done. So I'll start off with this stoic guy here in the middle. Okay, so this guy is staring straight ahead. You can see I haven't edited his plasma pistol, the Volkite pistol on the left hand. I didn't cut that off. But what I did was, and I didn't actually, you know, the way I shaved the sword, I actually kept it in the scabbard. I wanted this one to be quite a relaxed pose, where he has got his sword still in its scabbard, just resting on the side of his leg, ready to take out, obviously. And then the shield on the back. As I mentioned at the start of the video, the reason the shields are painted is I cut them off the sprues actually when I first got the magazines, and to use them as veterans with combi plasmas and storm shields. So, you know, that's why they're painted up. But I'll obviously be basing these again in black. So yeah, that's the first one. Quite a relaxed staring ahead pose. Second one, it's this guy here. More dramatic pose. He's in reference, actually. This guy is very similar to the limited edition captain that you get in Imperium issue 5, I think, with the sword held aloft and the shield down by his side there. And obviously I kitbashed his head there, head swapped that out with a mohawk guy. So that's the second one. I really actually love this pose. I really love this pose. And again, I used the method of shaving the sword, cutting the sword in 2, and then using that. I will tidy up that area. It's a little bit messy, but I just wanted to make sure that you could see this. Okay, I actually really, just going back to this guy, I really love the whole shield on the back thing. I just think that looks dope. Right, next, so no, we're done here. Oh yes, so here we go. We have another one here. So this is another one held aloft. You can see a theme going on here. With this guy, it's more of a kind of a sword really held up in the air, and then shield down by the side. But this guy actually, you see the way his hand is at an angle? That was actually really tricky to do, because what you have to do is you have to cut the hand at an angle, cut the scabbard at an angle, so it's almost like pointing forwards rather than just pointing, you know, straight up in the air as per the other one. So he's almost looking down the end of his sword, pointing it at something. I couldn't get it any more pointed than that without actually breaking the hand. So yeah, okay, cool. And then there's this guy. So we've got this guy who, again, I have shaved the sword on this one. So he's got his sword out, it's not in its scabbard. And then he's obviously just got his hand up. The difference between this one and the normal thing in terms of having the hand, his fist is actually faced forwards. So the shield is almost pressing that. Usually the shield is actually usually pressed against the forearm, but I wanted him to be kind of looking over his shield, almost using it defensively, and having his sword back ready to strike. And this was the trickiest one and took me the longest to do. Again, you can see I've head swapped this guy out with the Blade Guard Veteran's head with the helmet up from the Indomitus set, which I didn't use. Right, with this one, anyone that's, and I'll link it at the end of this video, anyone that hasn't seen my Heavy Intercessors Kitbash video where I turned some Gravis Marines, this was before Heavy Intercessors were released, into Heavy Intercessors. I did the similar thing here. What you had to do is chop the end of the hand off and rotate the hand. So it's usually like that, and then rotate it like that. So he's actually holding his sword out straight, flat. You can't do that if you don't cut the hand off and then put it back on. And again, he's got his he's got his shield arm back, ready to swing. So yeah, he's using the sword defensively in this one, with looking up, obviously with that really cool helmet on. So that is all 5 of them. Just to remind you, all of these miniatures came from this lieutenant, veteran, Blade Guard veteran lieutenant. So yeah, I hope you like the model poses here. Again, £1.50 for these amazing models is really, really good. 1 second, let me get them back in focus. There you go. So the only thing to add, you'll go about to say, Morgan, but how can it be £1.50 if you've still got the other Necron on here? That means it's $2.99. Well, no, actually, it's £1.50 a miniature divided by 2, obviously. So what can you do with this? If you don't collect Necrons, sell it on eBay. You can probably get £5-10 for it because it is a HQ model. And if you don't want to, I'm greedy and I'm an absolute hoarder. So what you can actually use it for is to have as either a proxy. As you can see here, this is the, I already had a Royal Warden from Indomitus, but what you can do is, you can very simply, this is the one which is unedited, as you can see here, it's got these things, whatever they're called, coming down there. But what you can do is just chop those off at the back, and you've got a very tall Necron warrior, or what a lot of people have proxied it as, and what I've proxied it as, is actually, what are they called? Immortals. Immortals are basically heavy infantry troop choice. So they're like, and I don't believe there are new models for these. There's only old models, the ones that look like Lego. So you can proxy these as elite troop immortals that come in squads of 5. So they're much taller than the normal Necrons, if you see here. Let me just show you the difference. Much, much taller. So you can basically proxy those out as a completely different model in the actual Necrons. So £1.50 for a Necron, £1.50 for a Blade Guard veteran. So I really hope you enjoyed this video today, guys. Thanks for joining me. And yeah, I hope you like my poses. Let's set these guys rotating. Yeah. So yeah, do check out my other Kitbash videos. Do like and follow. If you chat to me down in the chat, I will say hello. If you say anything interesting, I will say hello. So yeah. Thank you for joining me today with Chapter Master Morgan. Hope you like these. Well, I think they look absolutely dope, and I hope you do too. Have fun and praise the Emperor, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye bye.